Dumelang bagaetsho, molweni sihlobo senkosi. This is Nkululeko Shude, a civil legal practitioner from Legal Aid, South Africa, the biggest law firm in South Africa. I'm at Germiston local office. We are in the midst of 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children. And this is the third of the four Facebook Live broadcasts during this campaign, focusing on a number of important legal topics. Today we are discussing the following topics: domestic violence, different types of abuse, and protection orders. Now, before we get to the topics, we have to get to know each other. Legal aid requires you, or we ask you, to be with us with comments, questions, so that we can discuss this thing. And if you have any questions, comments, there's a number below. During this, if we cannot respond today during this live broadcast, look for a message from us and response in a future video. If you require legal advice, you can call toll-free advice line 0800 110 110. This is weekdays between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. If you cannot call, you can send us a please call me at this number 079 835 7179, and we can call you back. I promise we can do that. If you like what you see in our videos, like it, share it, so that you can spread the word about about our rights and your rights. So, before I start with this topic today, with the topics today, I just want to share something with men of our country. As a man, just as a man, I want to pose just the following questions. What happened to us? What did we do to the pride that we saw from our fathers when they were raising us? The pride of being a head of the family, the pride of being a protector, a provider. Why is it now our wives, girlfriends, children scatter and hide when we come in? Why is it that they go elsewhere for protection? I'm concerned. Why do we allow our lives to be run by government institutions? Don't you ask yourselves those questions? Because when you turn every corner, people now are running to courts, police stations to have their lives adjudicated. It should be a worry to any man. When did we lose our humanity? When did we turn to wolves to our loved ones? Let me tell you, no amount of good legislation or good enforcement of these laws that I'm going to discuss with you today will turn the scourge that we see in our country, where women and children are basically victims of abuse day in, day out. Now my plea to men is that let's take back our rightful place. As leaders, as providers, and protectors. It starts with me now. Let it start with you now. Now, let's get to the important things that we're here for. It was just a by the way. By the way that you take it, then it makes you a better person. You leave it, I can assure you, you'll spend the rest of your life running in courts, hiding from police, not enjoying the beauty of life called family. So that was me to the next man that is listening. So if you have anything to say, any questions, I gave you the number, is 0800 110 110. Then you call us, our advice line. If you don't have airtime, we also looked at that. Then you can just throw us a WhatsApp line. Please call me at 079 835 7179. Now, let's get back to the issues of the day. Let's start with the Domestic Violence Act. What is that? A number of people we may take for granted that they know. And I was shocked to hear when I was in Sasolburg, that my hometown, that there are people that really do not know. So this is a platform that we created as the biggest law firm for people to know. This is the law that deals with domestic violence in our country. It exists to give protection to people who experience abuse at home. That is what this act is for. And now, what is the purpose? The purpose is to allow you to get protection against the abuser, to prevent abusers from further committing domestic violent acts. In case an abuser doesn't cease to commit these abuses or domestic violence acts, then you can report that person to the police, he can be arrested, and he can be charged of a crime. Those are the purposes of this act. Now, who qualifies to apply for protection under this act? Husband and wives. Remember when I started this conversation, as I was talking to men, but let me be quick to say, I didn't mean to say men are abusers. No, don't hear me wrong. I was talking to men because a number of reported cases, they are reported against men. And it's alarming that these numbers are not basically subsiding. They're just on the increase. Therefore, I was talking to men as a man. So, who qualifies to apply? A husband can apply against an abusive wife who lives under the same roof. A girlfriend can do the same to a boyfriend who lives under the same roof, vice versa. Now, it can happen to a separated couple where a wife stays elsewhere and the husband stays elsewhere. They still have the right to apply. That applies also to a boyfriend and a girlfriend that do not stay under the same roof. Now, it also helps people that just live under the same roof. Who am I referring to? I'm referring to a father to son, father to daughter, mother to daughter. That family composition, where a son would be on Nyaupe, start stealing everything in the house, start threatening the parents, start being unruly, then the parents have a right to go and apply for protection under the Domestic Violence Act. It happens to mothers who have unruly daughters. Then those are people that this act is for. And also, it is important to note that persons, for instance, they are no longer girlfriend and boyfriend, but they are sharing a child. That's always complicated, because now one would be trying to get to a child, the other one barring the other from getting to a child. Then always that gets to a point where the other one is frustrated and now starts to commit acts of violence against the other. Then those people are protected in situations like that. Who can commit these domestic violence acts? As indicated, let's dispel again the notion that men are abusers, please. It's a notion that is out there. Let's dispel it. There are women that abuse men, but unfortunately those are not reported. Even if reported, I have clients that came back and said, when I got to a police station, they made fun of me. They ridiculed me, which is wrong. You have a right to report that a police officer that does to you when you report domestic violence acts against your wife, because you have a right, according to the law, to report an act that abuses you, even if it's from your wife. It happens to men against men. It happens to women against women. Then those people are people that have a responsibility to report. Now, the very sensitive one is children. It's very sensitive and close to my heart in that people, mothers particularly, or caregivers, they have this tendency of endorsing, if I were to say that, or act as if they do not see domestic acts of violence against children. And those go unreported on a daily. It's something that annoys me, hurts me, because if those children cannot be protected by people that are caregivers, where are they going to run to? Therefore, if there's an act of abuse against a child, do not only go to court and apply for a domestic, for a protection order. Report this to the police station. Report this to social services. Then let them gauge the seriousness of the offense and open a case if the offense is serious, and have the social services doing their jobs if this act is of a serious nature. And I urge people, particularly on this topic of children, please don't look the other way, because our children are suffering because of people that are within families, uncles, fathers, brothers. Let's be a nation that reports ill doings, wrongdoings. That we are definitely will be creating an environment where everybody would be safe. Now, the question is, I believe out there, how would I know that I'm a victim of a domestic violence? How would I know that? If you are physically abused by a partner, by a husband, by a wife, you are in a domestic violence situation that needs reporting. You cannot let somebody slap you around and be apologetic on his or her behalf and say, no, I started this. Nobody has a right, whatever the reason, to slap around the other person. Emotional abuse. That's why people find it wrong, because they think, no, this thing is not reportable because I don't have injuries to show to the court. I don't have proof that he's doing these things. But if you feel that this thing hurts you bad emotionally, whatever is said, whatever is done, hurts you bad emotionally and drags you down every day, that's a domestic violence act. Report it. Let the courts deal with it. Psychological abuse is more or less related to emotional abuse, because now somebody will be making sure that he or she brings you down by conduct or by deed. Will say something that will make you worthless, that will make your dignity impaired in a bad way. Don't let it pass, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. If you let it pass the first time, it will happen the second time, the third, and at the end of the day, you'll be like those people that says, no, I'm used to it. It cannot be. We cannot condone acts of such nature. We really cannot condone acts of such nature. Let's report them. Sexual abuse. There is something that I don't understand when it comes to men. The issue of entitlement. You are not entitled to somebody's body. That person has a right to say no at any given time. Therefore, you cannot take whatever that was not given. If the answer to your moves, to your advances is no, back off. If you are a victim of sexual abuse, report this to the police station, because it's not only domestic violence, it's a criminal offense. Therefore, report this to the police station. Have this person prosecuted in a criminal court, and also open a protection order so that you can be protected going forward. There are a number of these types of abuses. Verbal abuses, intimidation, economic abuse. That I have to really talk about, because that's where a number of women are abused. In economic abuse. That's where a number of women turn a blind eye to criminal conducts, domestic violence conducts, because they are scared that they will lose their livelihood if this man would leave the common home. If this boyfriend would leave her, she would lose her livelihood. Is your life worth the money that is being given? Is your dignity worth the money? I do not think so. Therefore, let's pull away from under the thumb of economic abuse. That's where mothers turn a blind eye when their children are being abused, because they are scared that a partner will leave and they'll lose the breadwinner. You rather lose a breadwinner than to lose the life of a child, your peace of mind. Rather lose that support. At times it happens that somebody who was a boyfriend, who is now an ex, would be stalking you all over the place. Wherever you are going, you find at the corner of your eye, this person is there. Then in-law is called stalking. You cannot let this person do this to you. Stalking is a criminal offense. Report such things. And also, there will be a person, a partner, a wife, husband, that will come drunk from a function, closing function. Now that we are approaching that time, there will be a lot of closing functions. Drunk, having had with the holy water, then come back home and kick doors, break anything that he sees because he was irritated by a friend or whatever, where he comes from. And you would say, when you ask or you try to stop him from damaging properties in the house, he would say, these are mine. I pay for these things. That cannot be allowed. Pay for them or not, you cannot just be allowed to come in the house, destroy things and think you'll get away with it. Please report these things. Those are acts of violence against you. Now, who can apply for a protection order? A victim of abuse, as I stated earlier, all the listed people that are indicated can apply for a protection order. Any person on behalf of the victim can report this. Any person in authority, like teachers, because teachers see these things on a daily. They see children coming to school with bruises. They see children coming to school with all sorts of ills. They have a responsibility to report. Social workers, police officers, they also have a responsibility to report on behalf of the victim. Now, where do we go if we want to report these things? Where do we go when we want to apply for a protection order? Now, each and every magistrate court has a department that deals with these things. Any magistrate court that is nearest to you has an office. Then go to the nearest office, magistrate's office, and ask for a family violence clerk or domestic violence clerk. Then that person will be able to take you through the processes that you need to go through, the applications and all those things. Alternatively, you can go to the nearest magistrate court of where the abuser lives or works. As I indicated, all these people, all these magistrate courts in our country they have a department which deals with domestic violence. When you arrive at the courts, just ask for the clerks that deals with this. Then they'll have you fill in the forms so that you can start the process. When can you apply? That is the question. When can I apply? When I want these things, the protection order. Unfortunately, we have working hours in every court. These normally are during the week between 8:30 and 3:30. Then that will be the 5 days that we work. We have in a week, Monday to Friday. But the law provides for emergency applications. Where you feel that your life is in danger, where you feel that if you are not heard immediately, then you might be a victim of Domestic Violence Act. Then you can approach an attorney and have this attorney make an urgent application to courts so that you can have this relief. Now, let's look at how you do that now in court. Then you get to court and meet a clerk of the court. A clerk of the court that will take you through the process. There is a form that you fill in where you basically will have your names, the address, telephone numbers, and also the names of the abuser, full names and the surname of the abuser, the address, the telephone number if you know. And also there will be a space there, that form, where you are allowed to list all the domestic violence acts that you need assistance with. Then you write them down, as in all the domestic acts that are happening to you, you list them. And as soon as that is filled in properly, then the clerk of the court will take same to the magistrate, which magistrate will go through your application. If the magistrate is satisfied that you qualify and there are acts of domestic violence that are happening to you, then the magistrate will give you something called an interim protection order. As the name of the order says, it is interim in its nature. That's where there's going to be a date that is allocated for both of you, the victim and the abuser, to come at a later stage, for the abuser to come and give cause why this application cannot be made a final order. That's where now everybody is here, yourself, your witnesses, the abuser and his witnesses. Then the matter will be adjudicated by the magistrate. If the magistrate deems that your case has been made, then a final protection order will be granted. As soon as the final order is granted, it now entails that the abuser is ordered to stop all the listed acts of domestic violence, failing which he can be arrested, now criminally charged for disobey the court order. When I started this whole process up until the point where you are given an order and somebody is arrested for disobeying the order, it simply is called a civil process. But as soon as the order is contravened or is disobeyed, then it takes another shape. It becomes a criminal offense. That's where now the police get involved, take you and take a statement from you as to how these acts of domestic violence were committed. And if needs be, looking at the severity of the conduct, the police are required to arrest if it's of a serious nature, or if it was immediately reported, or alternatively look at whether to give this person a notice to appear in court if it was of a less severe nature, the conduct that was committed. Now, when that happens, therefore the abuser is now called and accused in a criminal court. When the court finds this person guilty, he can be sentenced to anything between 3 to 5 years, or fined, or both. Be fined and sentenced at the same time. So I believe we have taken you through the paces of what is expected of you as a victim. I hope from today you'll know your rights and you'll share them with somebody who didn't see this live broadcast, so that we share the importance of our rights. We are not only sharing the video, we're sharing rights now. We're sharing knowledge, and knowledge empowers people. The reason for me to be here was just to empower my fellow South African citizens and making a plea to them that we can make a better nation if we talk. A dialogue has never broken bones. A dialogue builds relationships. A dialogue earns you respect. But your fists break bones, break relationships. They have you lose your respect. I can assure you, it's very difficult to earn your respect back. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions, you can send us a Facebook message, or if you require legal advice, you can call our toll-free number 0800 110 110, weekdays between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. If you ran out of airtime, don't worry, we have you. We have your back. You can send us a please call me to 079 835 7179, and we'll call you back. We promise. We're just not making that promise. We are going to call you back. Join us again on Monday afternoon at 12 p.m. for our final 16 days of activism Facebook Live broadcast. We'll be discussing how to protect children from violence and abuse, as well as responsibilities of adults to protect children. Send us questions, and remember to like and share this video to spread the word on your rights. Ndianibulela ngokundimamela, kyaleleboa. ka hore le sebedisitse difounu tsa lona e ne le monyetla wa hore o ska sebedisa tjhelete ya ho lo batla legal advice ko lawyereng e ne le monyetla wa hore o itholle lawyer e sa o batleng le sente. I'm saying to South Africans again, I'm working for the biggest law firm in South Africa and biggest law firm in Africa, if I may be bold. So the myth that we are hiring less experienced attorneys, try us, will shock you. Thank you and goodbye.